Hi there, and welcome for the first time to my channel. I've been thinking about writing Dragon Ball What Ifs for a little while now, and I finally decided to try it. It's still a little weird for me to talk into a microphone, but I'm sure I'll get used to it. For my first attempt, I've decided to focus on a character often overlooked by the Dragon Ball community, Vegeta's younger brother Tarble, as I try to answer the question, what if Tarble was a member of Vegeta's squad? Unfortunately, this would push Raditz down to 4th in the pecking order. The poor guy isn't even on the podium anymore. Tarble outranks him and Nappa just by being royalty. As we know, Tarble was banished by King Vegeta for his lacking power level and good nature. But in this story, his father will be a little more merciful and instead send Tarble off to join Vegeta's squad, hoping he will be inspired by proper Saiyan warriors, like Vegeta and Nappa. Oh, and that other guy, Raditz, he could boss him around. Planet Vegeta is destroyed not long afterwards, so now Nappa has 3 kids to look after, and Tarble, unlike most Saiyans, comes to view him as a sort of father figure. Ages in Dragon Ball are pretty confusing, and Tarble's is even more so. He looks like a teenager, but the youngest he can be is Goku's age. For brevity's sake, I'll say he was 2 when Planet Vegeta was destroyed, just because he was apparently old enough for King Vegeta to notice that he lacked the aggressive tendencies a Saiyan should have. He couldn't have expected that from an infant. It goes without saying that Dragon Ball plays out the same as it does in the original. Goku meets Bulma, loses to Yamcha, trains with Roshi, loses to Jackie-chan. You know how it goes, and if you don't, watch Dragon Ball. Before we go any further, I'd like to take a moment to go through how strong I think Tarble would be. We know in the original timeline, King Vegeta banished him for being weak, but as we all know, the power level you're born with doesn't mean anything, so what the hell is that guy now? In the Yosun Goku special, Tarble was strong enough to survive a fight with 2 people as strong as First Form Frieza, but he can't be that strong here, so we'll say his power level is 10,000. His reluctance to harm others means he's gotten more Zenkais than Raditz, Nappa, or Vegeta. As in the original, Vegeta, Nappa, Raditz, and in this case Tarble, had taken longer than they would have liked to subjugate a planet. There may be 4 of them this time, but thanks to Tarble's good nature, he's far more merciful than the others. He'd try to spare people when possible. So Raditz still suggests going to find his brother Kakarot, who was sent to Earth. Raditz still goes by himself, kidnaps Gohan, and is slain by Piccolo, taking Goku with him. The only difference being, he tells Piccolo that there are 3 Saiyans coming instead of 2. This means Earth's defenders train even harder in the year between Raditz arriving and the attack of the Saiyans, but it's not a huge increase. They're about 15% stronger than they are in the original timeline. As in the original, Nappa plants the Saibamen to see how well they do, and the Saibamen don't do a thing against the Z-Fighters. As in the original, one of the Saibamen tries to blow itself up and take Yamcha with him, but almost on instinct, Tarble destroys it, his good nature getting the better of him. Apologies in advance for my bad voice acting. What the hell do you think you're doing, Tarble? Vegeta snarled as Yamcha realized how close he'd been to a humiliating death. He earned his win. He beat that Saibaman. Would a proud Saiyan warrior really be happy with dispatching an enemy in such a cowardly manner? Vegeta thought it a poor excuse, but decided that it wasn't a point worth arguing. That one would die one way, and it didn't matter if it was Nappa or a Saibaman. Fine, he gets a stay of execution. Do not betray us again. Tarble gulped nervously as his older brother showed him an icy glare. It was a little touch at points, with another Saibaman attempting to self-destruct on Chaozu, but Earth defenders managed to dispatch the botanical beasts without any fatalities. Impressive, you Earth Slimen proved quickly. If you had another year, you might even pose a threat. To Nappa, Vegeta gloated as he watched the last Saibaman fall. This was only the beginning of their problems, however, as that meant it was Nappa's turn, which Tarble couldn't interfere with. He couldn't even bring himself to watch as Nappa punched Tien's arm clean off. When Chaozu attempted to take Nappa out along with himself, Vegeta shot Tarble a look that said, "Really? It's okay when they do it?" Tarble awkwardly tried to avoid his gaze. After Tien poured his life force into the one-handed tri-beam, which only slightly damaged Nappa's armor, it came down to Piccolo, Gohan, Yamcha, and Krillin against Nappa. The 2 humans seemed particularly shaken. Piccolo, in this timeline being 15% stronger, means he can handle a repressed Nappa quite well, even getting the upper hand over the Ball Bruiser a few times. But as Nappa began to take this a little more seriously, Piccolo found himself quickly overwhelmed. Nothing we're doing is working. Even if we beat this guy, the 2 back there are even stronger. Where's Goku? Yamcha cursed his bad luck. He might as well have let that thing kill him. It's been fun, you guys, but I'm getting tired of this, so I think I'll take you all out at once. Nappa began to charge and attack, but this time it was Vegeta who stopped him. By Goku, you mean Kakarot, don't you? Vegeta agrees to wait 3 hours for Goku, like in the original. And this time, Yamcha, despite his fear, decides to attempt to talk to Tarble. Hey, Tarble, right? Thanks for the save earlier. It was nothing human. I just think a death like that is unfit for a warrior. I will not save you from Nappa, Tarble replied coolly. He wasn't really happy about this situation, but he wasn't going to show it. Yamcha backed off pretty quickly after that, heading back to the group. Guys, what do we do? That Shorter Saiyan as good as told me that helping us was a one-time deal. Relying on the enemy for help? How pathetic, even for you. Piccolo scoffed at the very idea. I'm not sure I buy that, Krillin mused, looking over at Tarble. He doesn't seem like he wants to be here, never mind fight us. You could be right, but we can't take that chance. He's our enemy, just like the others. All we can do now is wait here and hope Goku shows. Otherwise, we die. Piccolo spoke in a flat tone like he often did. He was never one to sugarcoat things. My dad will be here, have faith in him. 3 hours passed and there was no sign of Kakarot. Or Goku? Tarble wasn't really sure what he was meant to call him. Well, looks like you're out of time. Nappa called over to the remaining warriors, who once again got ready to fight. Damn it, where is he? Yamcha lamented as Nappa approached. I've got something that might work, but I'll need a moment to focus on it. Krillin answered in a hushed tone. This better be good, Krillin. I'm trusting you here. Piccolo didn't much like putting his faith in him, but he didn't have many options. Gohan, Yamcha, and Piccolo rushed Nappa, surprising him, but not coming close to overwhelming him. Well now, that's the spirit! Nappa yelled as he caught Yamcha's wolf-fang fist before throwing the former bandit at Piccolo. As this was going on, Krillin had his palm raised to the sky, charging the Destructo Disc. Vegeta was preoccupied watching Nappa fight these other three, so he didn't notice what the monk was doing. Nappa, watch out! Tarble yelled, catching Nappa's attention, just as Krillin launched the attack. The fighters did their best to keep him in place, but Nappa threw them aside. Even so, he wasn't quite quick enough, and the disc severed his hand. You little bastards! Nappa roared in anger and agony as he threw everything he had at the nearest person to him in a blind rage, who in this case was Gohan. But, just like the original, Piccolo shields him and loses his life in the process. Gohan loses it and unleashes on the brute. Nappa, exhausted and losing blood, is quickly overwhelmed by the boy's onslaught. Gohan rams into the bulky Saiyan, finishing him off the same way Goku killed King Piccolo. Tarble was conflicted. He couldn't deny that Nappa had deserved that, but it was still the man who'd basically raised him. While Gohan felt disgusted with himself, he'd killed someone. He was a bad guy, and there was no question he deserved it, but he hated that it had to come to that. Pathetic! Falling to this planet's inhabitants! The prince sneered derisively. Brother, how could you say something like that? That man raised us! And we've outgrown him. He's proven that. Tarble clenched his fist, but didn't say anything. He looked over to the three fighters. With Nappa gone, that meant it was his turn. He really didn't want to do this. Tarble didn't even have a chance to attack, however, as a newcomer arrived, catching his older brother's attention. About time you arrived, Kakarot. One warning, get off this planet. Goku commanded, and Tarble secretly wished that was an option. I'd like to see you make us. Tarble, clean up Nappa's leftovers. Kakarot is mine. Before the fight has a chance to start, Goku suggests taking it to somewhere more empty, and Vegeta complies with this request, albeit reluctantly. Beginnings of the fight between Goku and Vegeta are largely the same, so we'll focus on the battle between Tarble, Gohan, Krillin, and Yamcha. As established, Tarble does not want to hurt these three, but he knows he can't just knock them out or Vegeta would tell him to finish them off, which leaves him with one option: throw the fight. He'd have to lose on purpose, but make it look convincing, and he couldn't go too easy on them, or Vegeta would figure it out. These three were decently strong, so surely it would be plausible that they could beat him if they rushed him, right? He just hoped that Vegeta would buy it. All three of you, come at me at once. I'll destroy you all in 1 minute flat, Tarble yelled as he powered up to about 70% of his full strength. They weren't bluffing, he's even stronger than the big one was. That said, we still can't back down. The three warriors from Earth all rushed Tarble at once, and even with the power gap, Tarble found himself struggling to block attacks from all three of them. Tarble delivered a palm strike to Gohan, only to be struck in the back by Krillin, and when he went for the monk, he was pummeled by a series of blows from the one with the scars. Some technique called the Wolf Fang Fist, whatever it was, it hurt. Tarble let his ki explode around him, forcing them to back up, before beginning to charge an energy wave. You three are as good as dust, Tarble shouted, doing his best to sound like Vegeta or Nappa before firing the blast towards the trio. Yamcha and Krillin answered his attack with a joint Kamehameha, and Gohan joined in with a Masenko. The three of them barely managed to overwhelm Tarble's attack, leaving him injured and unconscious but very much alive. Krillin went to finish him but was stopped by Yamcha. He saved me earlier, it's only right I return the favor, give him a chance to leave, and if he causes trouble when he wakes up, we can just slap him around again. And with that, the remaining fighters go to help Goku, just as Vegeta fires off the Powerball. Tarble still has his tail, but he is far too weak to transform.
What? There's no way you three could have defeated Tarble.
Guess we aren't as pathetic as you thought. They couldn't have, Vegeta thought. Tarble was far stronger than the three of them put together. He knew that for a fact, which meant he was either incompetent or he lost on purpose, and he couldn't quite decide which was worse. Vegeta is defeated as usual via getting crushed by a 5-year-old falling on top of him, and Yamcha destroys the Powerball with a Spirit Ball. Tarble regains consciousness just as all this happens, flying in before Krillin can kill Vegeta. Unbeknownst to him, Goku was going to stop him anyway. "You let us go, or I'll destroy this planet!" Tarble bluffed. He didn't have the energy for that kind of destruction at the moment. "Yeah, go ahead and try it," Yamcha shouted, also bluffing. He was in no shape to fight. Before the two came to blows, Goku interrupts, telling Yamcha and Krillin to just let them go. Reluctantly, they agree. And that seems like a decent place to stop. As I said, this is my first time trying something like this, but I'm curious what you think about it. Do you think this could be interesting? Do you have any other ideas for what ifs? Or do you think my voice is boring and never want to hear it again? If that's the case, I kinda get it. My mother told me the same thing. Either way, feel free to comment and I will read and reply to as many as you can. But wait, what? As many as I can. What do you mean if you can? You're not replying to your own comments. But yeah, that's all from me. I've got to get back to playing Mario & Luigi Dream Team on the Nintendo 3DS.